dimes, I'm hard. In the project courtyard, at the hot store on the boulevard. Times is hard, so I'm moving dimes, I'm hard.
Ayo, LAZ, make sure you check that new single from the bro Chief Cherokee featuring me, LAZ. You heard Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man. That's on all streaming platforms, and that's called Times is Hard.
Hey yo, LAZ, I'm in Queens Bridge to be exact. Shout out to the whole Queensbridge project. I just left my dudes at the How It Happened podcast. Just did an exclusive interview with them dudes. Make sure you go over there and check that interview. Make sure you subscribe, leave some comments, and tell them Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man sent you. You heard? Z-Lord, get at me.
Hey yo, LAZ, after this episode, make sure you go check my bros over there at InSource TV and watch that Super Trife Low Life's interview part 2 with Face Low, you heard? Hey yo, if you need promo, my reels on Instagram is monstrous, you heard? Send me a DM at Real Saint Laz and I'll get back at you. Yerp.
I was locked up in Lorton too. Lorton is like, that's where all the DC cats go. Lorton is one of the worst. Like, Lorton was one of the worst prisons that I ever been in my life. And I did 22 years in the state. It was a piece of cake. The state, when I left Lorton and came back to the state was a piece of cake. Lorton was like one of the most vicious. But at that time, we was on the pins and stuff like this. I remember Bush spit in the elbow face. When we was in the bullpens, Bush had spit in the elbow face. Call them all types of, girls and stuff like that. Apple was shook. I remember that. That was crazy too, though. Lorton was crazy, man.
Was it worse than Rikers Island?
And Lorton was crazy, bro. Lorton was Rikers Island. Man, Rikers Island wasn't that compared to Lorton. I tell you, Lorton is the worst prison. Right now, I'm in a level 7 prison, penitentiary. This is pancakes, man. This is pancakes, waffles, and eggs compared to Lorton.
Domencio was the first dude that took you out of town?
Yeah, he the first one. He took me to Baltimore. Yeah, he took me to Baltimore, Domencio.
How that happened? Like, what he told you about going out there?
He ain't tell me nothing. One day he just said, yo, what you doing? I said, I ain't doing nothing, man. He said, get in the car. He had a couple of other dudes in the car with him. I got in the car with him. We drive. I said, where we going? He said, we going to Baltimore. I said, all right. We stopped on Delancey Street. We had stopped on Delancey Street. And he had took us shopping and stuff like that. But before that, this is crazy, man. I know people gonna laugh at me, but I had a foot over at the time, right? So I get in the car. So people say, Dad, what the heck is that? I'm talking about myself. I had a foot over so bad, man. You smell that joint through my sneakers, man. Right? Because at the time I was young. I was doing bad, so I wasn't switching up like that. I was twisted. I was kind of twisted. That's when I ran to the streets at the time. So I'm with Mencio, everybody in the car, like, damn, what the heck? I'm like, so I'm saying the same thing. Yo, what's that smell? What the heck is that smell? Right? So I pulled Mencio to the side. I said, yo, man, that's my feet. So we went to the Lance. He took a shop and he brought me a bunch of socks, new sneakers, and everything. Boom, boom, and I helped with my foot odor. Well, he didn't want to help with my foot odor. So and then we went to Baltimore. But Baltimore was kind of crazy. So I think I stayed in Baltimore for like a week because the helicopters, we was on the strip, and the helicopters flew down on the So we ran, boom, I got away. I said, man, I'm out of here. I said, I'm out of here. I'm going back to New York, man. This is crazy. So I didn't even stay out there too long. So I came back to New York, and that was it. That was the end of the caper with Mencio. Wow.
You said the helicopters landed on the block?
Yeah, nah, the helicopter, they just shoot, what they do, they shoot them down and they flash the light. They let you, that's when the raid, so it was a raid, and I happened to got away. And I said, man, I'm going back to New York, man. This is crazy. I ain't in New York. Ain't no helicopters coming down on me, man. They just chase you up the corner or something like that, and that's it, man. They had a helicopter. I said, man, this ain't for me. This some real TV stuff. So I said, I'm out of there. So I came back to New York after that. Mencio was a good dude, though, man. Mencio will look out for you. That's what,
This call is from a federal prison.
Say like a Robin Hood, though, because he ain't, but he's like if you was in despair or whatever and you needed some type of help, Domencio, like, he was the type of dude that would help you, you know what I'm saying? You could come up to him and ask him for some work, he'll like, yo, here, get on your feet, man, just give me back whatever. He was good dude. Domencio's a good dude, man. You know what I'm saying? Good dude.
Where you had met son from in the first place?
Domencio from Brooklyn, Domencio from Albany and Fulton. You staying on Albany and Fulton right there. Yeah, Albany between Fulton and Decatur right there. Wow. Domencio was good people.
Yeah, man. So what you did when you came back to New York?
When I came back, I just you know, stayed in the streets. Stayed in the streets, man. Just going from here to there, here to there, here to there, man. Just staying in the streets, trying to keep my head above water. But what I think was above water at the time, you know. Just, man, the streets is poison. Stayed in them poison streets. I was just telling young brothers today, because I'm in a joint challenge program. It's a joint called the Challenge Program, you know, I got the motivation section. We got microphones and all that, speakers and stuff like that. And I was telling them, you know, because a lot of brothers, you know, they in here saying, y'all want to go home and get to the bag. They still, you know, they still thinking the street mentality. And I let them know, I said, listen, when you marry the streets, man, it's imperative that you impregnate the streets. You got to impregnate the streets. And when you impregnate the streets, you're only going to have 2 kids. Either death or prison. These are the 2 kids that you're going to have when you marry the streets. And I was relaying that to him, and ultimately, like, what happened to me? Because I'm married to the streets. Look, one of my kids, prison. And so, you know, I thank Allah that, you know, it wasn't death, because I still have a shot in life. But when you take that shot, you just gotta do the right thing with it, man. That's it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's some deep shit.
Daniels is good too, man. And well, after 52, I was messing with 59. I wasn't messing with 50, but 50 used to come around the way too. 50 used to come on Albany and Fulton too. That's another one. He used to come through. And 50 was a class act though, man. 50 was hilarious, man.
He was older than you?
So, yeah, 50 was a little older than me. Yeah, he was a little, like maybe about 2 years. Yeah, maybe a year or two. Maybe a year or two. They was in the streets before me, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't like wild. I wasn't wild until later, like later on. They was in the streets. I was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was in the streets, but not an active member of violence and stuff like that in the streets. You know? See, I ain't the things I'm articulating now, man. I'm not doing it for numbers and stuff like that. And I understand that, you know, when y'all have these podcasts and stuff like that, it's essentially y'all try to uplift y'all numbers and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to do it, man, as a prevention measure for individuals who's listening and maybe thinking that the streets is cool, man. I could be a prevention measure, and so they won't have to come to prison, man. Like, and I know, like, people want to hear war stories, and I got plenty of those war stories, but you can watch TV, man, and for that, because it's not helping my brothers and sisters that look like me, that's, you know, on their way to the system, man. You know what I'm saying? It's beneficial. It's more beneficial, man, when you hear something positive, and the numbers don't equate because you're speaking something positive. So people don't want to hear that. So the numbers are just low when the numbers should be astronomical, actually, because this is something that's going to help your son, help your daughter that stay in the streets, opposed to coming to prison when you got to see them in a visiting room floor and stuff like that. And the dudes, let me tell y'all something, man. Our gang members, y'all dudes who think y'all gangster in the streets and stuff like this, turn around and look at your partner right now, your man, your main man that you hanging with, that you selling drugs with, that you robbing with, that you murdering people with. Just look at him right now. Because when you get that 25 to life, he ain't even gonna know you, man. When you get that 15 to life, he ain't even gonna know you, because he gonna be so busy still succumbing to what he is doing in the streets. He gonna forget all about you, man. He gonna forget all about you. And the people that you're disrespecting, like your mother, because a lot of y'all disrespect your mothers, disrespecting your parents. These are the people you're gonna be leaning on when you get that 25 to life. But the people that you so called respecting and loving now, they gonna turn their back on your man, your homie, the one that your big homie, your boss. They gonna turn their back on you, man. They ain't even gonna know you, man. So take heed, man. Take heed now, man. When you marry the streets, man. When you marry the streets, you only 2 kids you could have, and that's death or prison, man. And when you come to prison, a whole lot of people gonna forget about you, man. This is where you're gonna have to remember who you are. You're gonna have to get into yourself and become the actual you. because the things that you're doing out there now, the negative things you're doing, that's not you. We was created better than that, so that's not you. But when you're sitting in that cell, man, you're going to have time to think about it.
Yeah, bro, and you know, that's facts, and I be telling dudes the same thing about them numbers and views and stuff like that. It's several aspects I tell dudes from, like, yo, firstly, when it comes to, when I know for a fact the material we putting out is just golden, I don't even care.
From a federal prison.
I love it to do a bunch of views, but even when it don't do a bunch of views, I know that content is so exclusive that it's gonna remain. Even if it don't do a bunch of views, that means it's gonna remain exclusive and brand new to whoever stumbles upon it. You understand what I'm saying? And you never know. Like, I've had videos on my channel that lay dormant for a year, and then out of nowhere, that shit shot up 100,000 views. You feel what I'm saying? So all I concentrate on is getting the stories on the channel, because you just never know what's going to happen. It may not happen from the first week of that shit being up there, but somebody might discover it 3 months from now. You understand? That's how YouTube works. It suggests, YouTube is gonna suggest content to people no matter how old it is on your channel. If it gets good views, YouTube is gonna keep suggesting it to people. You feel me? So
now that's a Snapple fact, man. That's a Snapple fact. And too, you know, another thing too that bothers me, because when I was out there, I was doing advocacy work. You know, I had my own program called Crime Criminal Redemption involving mental energy, and I was talking to the youth. I was going to group homes and stuff like that, and I was speaking to the youth. And you got a lot of brothers out there, they doing these organizations too, but they still straddling the fence. You know what I'm saying? They playing both sides. They playing like they good guy and a bad guy at the same time, which is idiosyncrasies to me. But I just want to share a quick story, and I hope time doesn't run out because it's a very important story. My man Joe came home, right? My man Jojo, little Jojo came home. He's living in Newark, New Jersey. So he came home and got his life together. He got married, man, and he got his wife pregnant. He had a little business and everything, operating and everything, boom, boom. So one day he's in his garage, he's fixing his car, he's in the garage, and he hears the cop sirens. And he see a young boy running from the cops. And he said, yo, over here, over here, over here. So Jojo took the little boy in his crib, right? So he could get away from the cops. So the cops kept going, whatever, boom, boom. So little Jojo, he's speaking, he said, yo, what's going on? But he said, yo, man, I gotta go, my parents is waiting for me, boom, boom. So little Jojo let the guy go. So when the guy ran out the house, 5 minutes later, the cops knocked on the door and said, yo, excuse me, did you see a little young boy running around? He on a black Adidas sweatsuit and black and white Adidas sneakers. Did you see him? Jojo said, nah. He said, nah, I ain't see a little boy like that. I can't help you, officers. So they left. So Jojo go back and tell he's been to work on his car again or whatever, boom, boom. So the cops came again 15 minutes later, so Jojo, with frustration, he answered the door. He said, listen, man, I told you I ain't see no little boy, no little boy with no black Adidas sweatsuit and no black and white Adidas. I didn't see him. Y'all keep knocking on my door. He was frustrated. So I said, excuse us, sir. Excuse us? He said, no, we come to report. There was a crime at your store. Your wife has been killed, and your store was robbed. He said, we're looking for the little boy. The little boy had on a black Adidas sweatsuit and black and white Adidas. So Jojo put his head down and began to cry, because the same boy he just saved from the police just robbed his store and killed his pregnant wife. So I'm sharing this because there's people who playing both sides of the fence. Jojo wasn't sincerely cleared. His mind wasn't cleared. He was still straddling the fence because he tried to save somebody who was running from the police. So he was straddling the fence. So I'm saying, brothers who out there straddling the fence, know that one day you're going to fall on one side, man. And try to fall on the proper side. Because it could be detrimental to you or someone in your family.
Yeah, that shit big
Let's
business.
share that, man.
That's big business right there.
It's serious, man. You know what I'm saying? We playing with kids' lives, man. Because people was playing with our lives and we haven't learned from it. You know what I'm saying? But it's imperative that we try to help those young brothers and sisters, man, that look like us, man. That's walking in our footsteps, man. Because our footsteps was muddy, man. Let's at least let them walk in sand.
They took you out there, or you got up with them out there?
Well, I went out there with one of. See, actually, it was like they crew was like crews inside of crews. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. It was like, and that's why they were so large. It was so many of them. It was because it was crews inside of a crew, but they was all one crew, if you understand what I'm saying. But I went out there with one of the individuals in their crew and took me out there.
How was that shit when you how old was you and how was it when you got down there?
I was like 18. I was like 18 when I got out there. DC was crazy at that time. It was the murder capital. At that time, it was the murder capital, so it was definitely, it was off the hook. It was in Southeast, so it was crazy. It was definitely crazy back then.
You was getting money down there too?
Yeah, I was getting money. That's what I went out there to do. I went out there to get some money. I had caught a murder out there. I caught the murder. I had came back. That's the time I had caught. I didn't even realize until I was getting sentenced that I caught 3 bodies in like a week. In a week, I had caught three murders.
And that's what they had charged you with those?
This call is from a federal prison.
Yeah, what happened is I came home in 2011 off a murder, right? And when I was locked up, and when I was doing that 22 years before I came home, DC came and got me for another murder. DC had gave me some time, and it was ran separate. But when I got paroled from New York, DC supposed to have came and got me, but they never came and got me, so I went home. I wasn't supposed to have went home. I supposed to have went back to DC to do the time there, but however, I went home. 2019, that's when the NDA told on me and my 2 co-defendants on a 33-year-old case. Then I came back in. When I came back in, because they said we knew about multiple murders and we ain't telling nothing, EA called DC and said, y'all let this guy slip through the cracks and somebody gonna lose their job. So then DC dropped their time on me that they had gave me, and that's why I'm doing that DC murder right now. I was locked up in Lorton too. Lorton is like, that's where all the DC cats go. Lorton is one of the worst. Like, Lorton was one of the worst prisons that I ever been in my life. And I did 22 years in the state. It was a piece of cake. The state, when I left Lorton and came back to the state was a piece of cake. Lorton was like one of the most vicious. But at that time, we was on the pins and stuff like this. I remember Bush spit in the elbow face. When we was in the bullpens, Bush had spit in the elbow face. I call them all types of, girls and stuff like that. Elbow was shook. I remember that. That was crazy too, though.
Why he had spit in the elbow face?
Elbow did something. I don't know. Bush just spit in his face. He spit right in the bullpens. Like spit in the elbow ain't do nothing. Elbow wasn't built like that. See, you got a lot of dudes in the streets. They got that little name. They got a rep. But when they come to prison, they scared. Like they ain't doing nothing. They tuck their tail. Bush was a killer in the streets, and he put that work in prison too.
You said that's a federal jail, or that was they like county jail, Lorton?
Yeah, but it's they county jail, but everything is federal. Like, this is why there's a lot of DC guys in the federal pens right now, because everything they do, you got a year or more, over a year, you go into the feds.
So they don't
have a jail.
They be sending people to that county jail that got federal cases, even if they didn't catch their case out there. Like they be sending dudes from New York there.
No, you had no. If you had to caught your case in DC, if you caught your case in DC, you was going to Lorton at that time. They closed it down, but at that time you was going to Lorton or DC jail. They got DC jail like our Rikers Island. They have.
This call is from a federal prison.
Have a prison. You know what I'm saying? At that time, Lorton, well, you could do time in Lorton, but normally you going to the feds. Everything is federal.
How that shit was when you got there? It was dorm cells, what?
Yeah, I was in a dorm. It's like, man, I had to sleep with an ice pick, man. I literally slept with an ice pick. If you from New York at that time,
oh, because
I'm talking about
it wasn't that many New York dudes in the jail?
Nah, they was there, but not like that. Not like that, nah. I had to sleep with an ice pick, bro. I seen New York dudes get punished. I seen New York dudes get punished in Lorton. I'm talking about. But I had a little love, though. I had a little love there. I was alright, but it was serious. I'm talking about serious. I'm talking about. Even before you get in the showers, man, you gotta make sure nobody in the shower having sex and all types of stuff before it. Lorton was crazy, man.
Was it worse than Rikers Island?
And Lorton was crazy, bro. Lorton was Rikers Island. Man, Rikers Island wasn't that compared to Lorton. I tell you, Lorton is the worst prison. Right now, I'm in a level 7 prison, penitentiary. This is pancakes, man. This is pancakes, waffles, and eggs compared to Lorton.
Why that shit was so crazy though, the jail, like it was corrupted? Like what was going on that made that shit so crazy? It was overpacked or what?
No, it was definitely okay, but you do what you like. You do what you want. It's like the prisoners run the units. Like it's like dudes getting stabbed. I'm telling you, yo, bro, if you go into the shower without saying shower, anybody shower, boom, boom, you might get stabbed up or something like that because two lovers might be in the shower having sex. And then they had even the gays at that time, the homosexuals at the time, they put their knife in you. In DC, they put their knife in you. It was crazy.
So it be other parts of DC be beefing with each other in the jail?
Yeah, that happens too, of course. That don't stop, you know what I'm saying? Of course, that don't stop. The only time they stick together is now when they come to the feds. I'm saying when they come to the feds, they stick together. You know what I'm saying? If Southeast got beef with Northwest or whatever, they stick together a little. But still, they beef with each other in the feds too. It's just most of the things that happen inside the feds is within your own cart. They got carts in the feds. So if you do something wrong, it's your own cart that's gonna do something to you. That's the sad part of it. Because back in the days when you join a gang, it ain't to hurt your own people. It's to fight another gang. But now it's just groups fighting each other. It's like it's in the midst of each other. It's just sad. This whole thing to me is just underrated. The cards and the groups is just, especially for black people. Black people we just so easily misled. It's sad, man. Easily misled. And we go for the banana and tailpipe every time. But the Spanish, why I love them Spanish brothers. Man, them Spanish brothers, they don't care where you from, Chicago, New York, Tennessee, Milwaukee, Chicago. They just see you as a Latino, as a Spanish. They don't care. That's what they see you as person. They're going to look at you. They're going to look out for you because they see you as a Latino brother. Then they're going to ask you where you from. Us as black people, they're going to look at you. Yo, where you from? Oh, he ain't one of us. He ain't from Chicago. He ain't from New York. And they ain't going to give you nothing. You need shower slippers. You need food. You need this. But they ain't going to give you nothing based on your blackness. So we just so easily misled, man. We sad. We are sad people, man. But that's why I say this Fed thing is overrated, man. It's corny. I show love to everybody. I don't care where they from. That's why I got dudes in here love me. I got dudes from Chicago. I got Bloods. I got Crips. I got, you know what I'm saying? I got GDs. I got all types of things. They love me. I show love to everybody. I don't care about that stupid stuff, that car stuff. I already know it's just to divide us. But yeah, Lorton was it, man. Lorton was it.
What years you said you was there?
I was there in 92. 92, I was there. I remember one time, something happened, so they said, yeah. And sometimes the Domencio said, yeah, get all the New Yorkers. I was like, oh, man, they about to kill us, man. I said, they about to kill us. Man, I just grabbed my ice pick and sat up in the bed. But I was running with some of the Moors, too, and I was Muslim, too. The Muslims was doing, too. So I was straight, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, oh, man, boy, this is crazy. Then I got caught with my ice pick. I went to the hole. And then from the hole, I came back to New York. But it's crazy, man. I'm gonna show you how I was blessed because I was with some old time Muslims. These are the ones they had the mayor. They had shot the mayor of DC up back in the days. And it was like 6 Codafin. I got real tight with them, and they was contemplating on breaking out. Right, so I was with them. Man, I got caught with my ice pick. I went to the hole. And I never got to make the move with them, you know what I'm saying? So I came back to New York. They got knocked and everything. They got caught. And I went and made the parole board and I came home. I was like, wow, man. You know what I'm saying? So I would have never made it home if I would have stayed down there and tried to escape with them dudes. You know, so everything happened for a reason, man.
You said they shot a mayor in D.C. up?
Yeah, they shot Marion Barry. They had shot Marion Barry. They had kidnapped Marion Barry back in the days and shot him. Yeah, the Hanafi, it was called the Hanafi brothers. That was back in the, I think they was in the 80s, 80-something. Yeah, the Hanafis. It was called the Hanafi brothers. It was like 6 co-defendants. I was with 3 of them in the dorm with 3 of them, and we got real tight.
who, if you could remember, who from DC was like running Lorton at that time?
Nobody was really. I don't think nobody was really running it, but Fats. They had a kid named Fats. DC Fats. DC Fats was there at the time. He was there with me at the time. He had some pull, but it wasn't nobody really running it. Like everybody just, it wasn't nobody really running it. Everybody was just living and trying to let live or get killed. You know what I'm saying? Mind somebody else's business, you mess around and get killed. Lord, it was serious.
And what they had phones? They had phones going straight out?
Yeah, they had straight phones, yeah. The thing is ringers, can they hang up to you, but they had straight phones. Okay, I'll hit you back later.
Alright, bet, man. I'm gonna be on deck.
Alright, big fella.
Alright, my brother. Appreciate you.
No doubt. No.
Support, for Juvenile, you know what I mean? Like, I've never been in trouble in my life, bro, so it's like they giving me a hard-ass time right now,
So, I mean, what happened that they gave you that much time? Where you telling people where you from?
I'm from Queens.
Queens?
Yeah, I caught a few cases in Queens, and then I caught another case in Virginia, you know what I'm saying? But I'm from Queens. I'm from St. Albans.
And how much time they gave you?
Gave me natural life, plus 18 years in New York State.
So,
yeah, I got a murder case. I actually got charged with a murder attempt and then a murder down south, which was my cousin living girlfriend. They charged me with, but after that, I just ain't cooperate, bro. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it was like, it was my word against the individuals that was telling. So, I got stuck with the load. And I ain't got no co-defendants, nothing. So I'm stuck with this time right now. I'm giving it back. I gave back natural. Like I got the 50 years. They ran it consecutive with my state time, which was 18 flat. I just left New York State last year, June 2022.
How much time you did in the state?
I did 16. This is my 17th year in prison.
So they just brought you to the feds when?
Last year, June 28th, 2022.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. So you said you trying to still give back time?
Yeah, I'm in the courts right now. I got my notice of appeal in right now. So they just giving me a hard time and they making it hard on me. I ain't never, like I said, I was still in high school when I came to jail. So
This call is from a federal prison.
I could definitely talk about what was done to me.
What you mean, like by the police? Or you talking about in the system?
Like the system. You see what I'm saying? How the system came, locked the juvenile up that never been incarcerated, didn't interrogate him or nothing. Just charged them with all these charges and they stuck. All off hearsay. Ain't no physical proof, ain't no evidence, they don't got no drugs and nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you charging me with, first I'm charged with an act in concert during the course of a drug trafficking offense. A gun was discharged causing the death of another with no drugs or no guns. And the person in the joint that got killed, she got killed with her own gun. I didn't even, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, at the end of the day, I didn't even possess her gun. I don't even own that gun.
What year you caught your case, you said?
I got locked up in 2006.
And you was on the island first and then went up top?
Yeah, I was on the island, and then the feds snatched me. I blew trial in Virginia. Then they sent me back to the island. Then they sent me up north 2010. I was up north from 2010 to last year, 2022.
What's the first spot up top you landed in?
I was in Comstock, Great Meadows.
How that shit was when you got there?
When I got there, it was gladiator school, nigga banging, young banging, running around doing what he do. It was gladiator school, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like regular, getting into trouble, mad mischief. And like around 2014, I just started getting my mind right, start focusing on getting my freedom. And by 2017, I was resentenced. You see what I'm saying? To the 50 years. So I honestly just changed my whole mind frame. Made it work for me.
Yeah, but you know, it's all type of laws out now, man. There's a lot of new laws out there where it's like they really can't get away with turning a 16-year-old's lights out like that. You understand what I'm saying? Because we already know that the brain is not fully developed until 25 years old. The part of your brain that understands consequence is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. So when you're an adolescent, 16 and 15 and 17, you're doing a lot of shit in a whole different mind state than what you're gonna have once your brain is fully developed.
Exactly, and that's what I gave back time on, which is Miller versus Alabama and Montgomery versus Louisiana. Those are the milestone case. So I went back to court, and the judge still said, they never said what we could give you, so I'm going to sentence you to 50 years consecutive to your state bid. So right now I got a year in on 50 years at the age of 32. But I can't, you know what I'm saying? My time ain't start till I was 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? So from 2006, my time didn't start till 2022. And then you put it on hold. So none of my time counted. So you're saying none of my time that I was in your custody counted. And I had time for the feds first. I blew trial here first. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like a messed up situation that I'm in. Like, a lot of people always say that I've never heard nobody be in this predicament. And, you know, and even lawyers, like, it's hard for them to argue it, so that they don't even want to be taking the cases sometimes. Because it's like, yo, it's hard for, how can we argue this? Like, we understand you got done wrong, but it's like, what do we argue with this? And so, and that's kind of them putting me in limbo. That's what they was. That was the whole plan. The system plans to do that. You know what I'm saying? All right, this kid, we don't know what he could turn into, so we're gonna put him in this mix with no knowledge of the law and keep him in here for as long as we can until somebody figure out how to fight for him. So,
yeah, bro. You know, I don't know if you ever read this book, but it's this book called The Master Plan by a dude named Chris Wilson. And it's called My Journey from Life in Prison to Life of Purpose. And son was 16 years old, and in the state that he was from or whatever, they turned his lights out for a capital murder that he caught at 16. He had straight life in prison with no chance of parole. And it was a rap. It was a rap. That sentence was like in stone, and it wasn't really nothing he could do about that sentence according to the law. And son just woke up one day and was like, man, listen, these niggas ain't turning my lights out for some shit that I did at 16 years old before I had a developed brain. And that nigga went crazy, bro. And he started writing any and everybody that he could write that may help him. And some people got at him. They put some bread behind it. They got behind his case. And that ended up giving that time back and coming home. And now he a successful writer and all that crazy shit. But he had no chance. Like, it wasn't like, you know, if he had a couple of dollars. Nah, it was no chance by law that he could possibly give that time back. And he just did not accept that shit and just kept going. And son came home, bruh. You gotta read that book, bro. You gotta get that book and read that book and let that shit amp you. You heard? Because he did the impossible.
Right.
He did what everybody around him was like, yo, bro, it's a rap, man. They ain't gonna retain, you know what I mean? You got sentenced to this. You signed off on that, bro. It's a rap. They ain't gonna overturn that shit. And son still did it.
Right.
You feel me? So you gotta read that book and absorb that shit, because you might even be able to get in contact with him.
Right. I'm saying, so definitely, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I get that. What's the name? What's his author name again?
Chris Wilson.
Chris Wilson. I'm gonna have my shorty get this book for me. You know, I was born in Coney Island Hospital, you feel me? So, like, my family from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know Foul? Your man, a nigga named Foul?
I got a man named Foul that's from Fort Greene.
Yeah, that's my cousin man. My cousin named Dutch. You see what I'm saying? So when I was telling him that I was gonna holler at you, and when I was telling him I was gonna holler at you, he was like, yeah, that's the good move. You see what I'm saying? So he definitely, that's like people. That's really like people. So you know, I've been down so long. So like, yo, but yeah, definitely, bro. Like, I definitely am very, very, very motivated to get to this door. Like, I got plenty of peoples out there, and, you know, I got a nice little support system. But it's just like, yo, you know, it's only but so much they can do. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's like, yo, I got to help myself for real. And that's what I've been doing. So, you know, anything that I could get help with, or I'm reaching out. That's why I'm taking this avenue with you. You see what I'm saying? I write people. I got people on my emails that I holler at. They got their own blog shop, more than their crimes. Is individuals I done wrote. You know, I'm corresponding with people. I'm corresponding with certain lawyers that's giving me feedback on how to help me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just an ongoing struggle. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I ain't giving up. You know what I mean? I don't think it's curtain. I know I'm gonna be home sooner than I probably think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh yeah, I thought that shit cut off. But yeah, bro, if you got any other stories that you want to share, Rikers Island stories, up north stories, you feel me? Everything ain't gotta be cutting and stabbing. It could be about whatever. You feel what I'm saying? But if you got any Rikers Island stories or prison Fed stories you want to tell, holla at me, man. We get one of them shits in.
I bet. You know what I'm saying? I definitely will. And, you know, we could definitely get up and talk about that, chop it up.
Yeah, and not only that, you know, your life. If you want to talk about your childhood and how you ended up in the streets in the first place, you feel me?
You know, niggas come from a long line of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Family members, moms, cousins, all that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, I'm glad the cycle just ended with me. Feel me? Like, my little cousins ain't never been in jail, so I'm just glad that it ended with me. Feel me? So, nigga definitely was outside. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could ask anybody, like, they'll tell you, like, your boy was outside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
But it definitely was good talking to you, and, you know, I'm gonna hit you up whenever you can, or next time you want me to call back, I'll call back, and then we can start this shit. I'll be my door.
Alright, bro.
About to hang up.
Alright, get at me though.
Hit you back. Yo, that's love.
Alright, bro, love. Stay up. What state is that again?
Maryland. Yeah, I'm in Maryland.
You said you got a life sentence and nobody died in your case?
Yeah, nobody died, bro. Like, yo got stabbed a couple times, but he was in the hospital for one night, got stitches, and got released. And my co-defendant, they allowed him to plead guilty to 5 years. You know, all us was locked up together or whatever, so this whole little incident happened leaving outside a bar. We got into a disagreement, got to fight, whatever, the dude got stabbed, so they just pretty much was like, look, you know, I was on the outskirts of Baltimore City, like the county, they sort of be on the tip, like trying to deter people from coming into the county by like sentencing you harshly, you know, so like, bro, yo, he didn't die or nothing, man. I'm really serving a life sentence for somebody that did not die, like that came to court and was like, look, I don't even remember what happened, like the whole situation is just a little crazy.
But why they gave you life? Because of your criminal record or history or something like that?
Exactly. The record factored in a little bit, but it was other people that I know that served time for shootings and things like that who got locked back up for murders that didn't even get life sentences. You feel what I'm saying? I had a homeboy that came on the tail after me that I was bitten with before, and he ended up copping up to 30, 35 years for killing somebody. You feel what I'm saying? So it's sort of kind of crazy how like the whole sentencing disparity and things like that or whatever, but one of the main things they were sort of talking about was like my record. Like they didn't even have a PSI report down here. They got this thing called post-sentencing investigation where they basically get like a record of like your childhood history, how you grew up and things like that. They didn't do none of that. They just straight sentencing. You know, so it was no mitigating factors presented in court at nothing. Like they didn't call no co-workers, no classmates, no neighbors, nobody that I was arrested with or nothing, like did a test of my character or anything like that. So they just went off and look. He got locked up when he was 14 the first time and he was released. And the judge pretty much was like, look, I don't have an answer towards like rehabilitating people that been through the stuff they've been through in prison, but he don't need to be out here. Like, that was our exact words, bro. I
So
received a life sentence.
what is it? They got like the 3-strike law?
Nah, in Maryland, they got a thing where as though your first reoffense, you face a mandatory 10 no parole. Your second time is 25 no parole. The third time is 40 no parole. They filed the paperwork basically saying that I was facing a mandatory 10 years no parole, but they never followed through with it. Like, most of the times when you get rearrested for the same type of offense, it's called a sentence enhancement. So they give you the sentence enhancement as a way to get you to plead guilty so that you're going to expose yourself to the maximum penalty. And in my situation, my sentencing guidelines was only 15 to 30 years. And they didn't even offer me a plea deal within the sentencing guidelines or anything. Then, on top of that, the time that I served for the first incarceration, I didn't even do that. You feel me? I copped out to 15 years for murder, for second-degree murder. I got arrested for murder and robbery when I was 14 and attempted murder or whatever. So the attempted murder and the robbery, the same gun was used. So they was like, look, we know you was present when the murder occurred. So in exchange, we'll drop the attempted murder charges and the robbery, but you're going to have to take the gun charge and plead guilty to second-degree murder in order for your co-defendant to get a lesser plea deal. Because I got arrested with my cousin. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, look, I'm trying to plead guilty, bro. I'm not really trying to go to trial. So the only way they're going to offer me the 30 years is if you plead guilty to the murder with me, but you're going to have to take the gun charge. So that was part of that plea agreement right there. That's how I ended up with the 15 years. Matter of fact, I was 15 when I caught the time. I copped out 2 days after I turned 15 years old and got sent to prison. Now, mind you, that was the first time I ever got arrested, bro. Like, I never been arrested before that or nothing. The first time I ever got arrested, I went to prison. You know what I'm saying? So,
And if you can, or if you want to speak about that, what happened with that case? What happened with that murder?
All right, now, in the neighborhood I grew up in, it was like a lot of people out there, you know, we selling drugs, things like that. Like, I dropped out the porch when I was like probably like 11 or 12. So, you know, you just get caught up in neighborhood politics and things like that. So at the time, I was hustling. You know, we were selling weed, selling dope, stuff like that or whatever. And dudes were pretty much moving in on the turf. You know what I'm saying? So a whole little situation that happened with a dude we was dealing with. And long story short, dudes kicked my door in. You feel what I'm saying? Like, dudes was really trying to like kill me. I was probably like 13 at the time this was going on, for real. So we ended up beefing, and that whole situation just took a left turn. So it was like, look, man, you can't pretty much let that go unaddressed. You feel what I'm saying? So in the process of me going through what I was going through with that, I was still out there selling drugs, robbing and stuff like that. And that's how I ended up catching an attempted murder charge, doing like a robbery that went bad. Like in the neighborhood I grew up in, you know, that's pretty much what we was doing, like robbing and things like that. For real. Like, I grew up, like, my mother and father abused drugs, so I really didn't have nobody really to care for me other than like few homeboys that looked out for us, older people around the neighborhood. I had a few distant relatives that came through, checked out on me for time and time, but for the most part, I was pretty much taking care of myself, for real. So I ended up getting locked up for that or whatever, and doing 10 years. I did 8.5 years in, and then I got sent to a work release program probably 18 months before I got released.
That's crazy though, man. And what happened with the case that they gave you life for?
All right, now with this case, like, me and some dudes I was booked with, like, oh, let's spend time in prison together. You feel what I'm saying?
My fault though, bro. You ain't got no appeals in or nothing like that, though, right?
I'm probably at my the last appeal right now. Like, I got an appeal in the 4th Circuit in Virginia, and they reviewing one allegation that I sent. But in Maryland, like, you got post convictions. Post conviction is sort of like, it's not a direct appeal, but you can challenge like issues that your trial attorney didn't perform at trial. So when I went on my first post conviction in 2019, the judge pretty much didn't even address none of the allegations because the trial lawyer wasn't present. So I got to go through the process of trying to get that reopened, and hopefully I get some relief on some of the allegations that I raised, because it was like a lot of technical legal stuff that they did wrong. Like, I had a legal search and seizure issue with a cell phone that was taken from me that wasn't challenged at a suppression hearing. I had some jury instruction issues that wasn't given that my lawyer didn't object to. So it was like a lot of legalese going on, and the county that I was pretty much sentencing, bro, it's like, man, that shit worse than being like down south. Like, it's like one of them deep southern rooted, like hard up. You're not getting no relief due to the courts and nothing like that. So it was like an uphill battle pretty much. You feel what I'm saying? So I just went up for parole 2 months ago, and they was like, look, come back in 2032. Like, they really don't give life as parole in Maryland. Like, it's red. Like, all the years I've been locked up, I can probably tell you about 10 people I know that got parole that's not even serving life sentences. Like, the parole system here is pretty much like nothing void. Like, so I ain't really looking forward to much from that, but you know, here is pretty much like you serving a life sentence, you pretty much like condemned for real, bro. Like, that's just the way that how they carrying it. You feel what I'm saying?
And what part of Maryland you from?
Yeah, I'm from Baltimore City.
Yeah, man. So you said basically you was in the streets dolo. You was raising yourself, your both your parents, and it was just you and your parents. Or you had brothers and sisters?
No, I got a little brother that lived with me. But whatever, my sister was living down south. My grandparents had custody of them, but my little brother was living with me. Before I got booked, the first time, like, Child Protective Services had to intervene or whatever, so I was staying with an aunt. But you know how, like, when you got family members that have children and you just pretty much pop up, like, the whole little situation just created, like, a chaotic environment. So that pretty much just gave me, like, free reign and just pretty much rip and run, just do whatever I needed to do at that time.
Yeah, what you were saying, so I don't want you to talk about your case if that shit is going to affect your appeal or some shit like that.
Right, like my main thing is, like, the whole situation, like, the judge knew that everybody involved was drinking. Like, they gave me a voluntary intoxication jury instruction basically saying that, look, you can consider my level of intoxication when you read to, like, the attempt factor. Like, in Maryland, attempted murder carries life. Second degree attempted murder at that time carried 30 years. But the mitigating factors would have lowered it to assault. Like, they gave them lesser included offenses, like first degree assault and second degree assault. Second degree assault in Maryland carries 10 years, bro. Like, a second degree assault is just offensive contact. Like, I can push you and get a second degree assault, go to trial and get 10 years for just pushing and shoving you. You know what I'm saying? So when I got found guilty, the jury pretty much sent the note like, look, we don't understand the difference between first degree attempted murder and second degree attempted murder. Could you re-explain it to us? They was deliberating for like 6 hours. So the judge was like, nah, y'all got the jury instructions with y'all and y'all been back there pretty long. So 5 minutes after that, they found me guilty on all the charges. You know what I'm saying? I got found guilty on first degree attempted murder, second degree attempted murder, first degree assault, second degree assault. So at the sentencing, like, that's pretty much when the judge was like, look, I don't really pretty much care about what's going on in prison. I don't have no control over none of that. And just gave me the life sentence, you feel what I'm saying? So, in a long story short, my co-defendant ended up pleading guilty and receiving 5 years. Like, it was never no plea deal offered. Like, nothing was considered. Only thing was considered was the fact that I did that previous time before. And that was pretty much, like, the main thing. Like, they didn't go into, like, the rehabilitation help you, the things that I suffered from in prison. Like, none of that mattered. Like, the childhood, growing up, none of that. It was just straight, look, you got a previous record, you was already in prison.
So that was your only other charge, the charge from 15?
Right, that's the only other charge that's on my record. But I never been in a juvenile detention facility. I got detained a few times, but I never did no juvenile bits or nothing. Like,
so what they charged? They ain't charge you with a juvenile crime at 14, 15?
Hell no. In Maryland, you can get charged as an adult for murder if you 13. If you 13 and 9 months, you can get charged as an adult for murder, and they can hold you in a adult facility. Like, I was housed in Baltimore City Jail over the out session or whatever. That's where they keep all the juveniles that's housed as adults. Like, when we was over there, bro, nobody went home. Everybody that was on that section went to prison, like, from the age of 13 to 14 to 17, like, all of us went to prison. You feel what I'm saying? Like, only people that got sent to the juvenile system was pretty much, like, white dudes that was getting locked up and charged as adults. But, like, you had a waiver here and they talk about your upbringing or whatever, your parents and stuff like that, to see if they're going to send you to the juvenile facilities or if they're going to try you as an adult. And I had to waiver her, and they pretty much like, nah, like, you can try it as an adult. So, you know, I spent, like, I got 11 years in on this incarceration, so I just turned 36 last month, bro. I've been locked up 21 years of my life. I spent more time in prison than I spent on the streets, bro. Like, and I ain't even never killed nobody, you feel me? Like, the first charge I got locked up for, they know I didn't do that. You just know I was dead, you feel me? Like,
yeah, so they gave you life for a bar fight where somebody ended up getting stabbed?
Yeah, bro, scratched. I'm not even gonna say stabbed, scratched. Like,
they can't give you life for no shit like that, bro.
Yeah, bro.
We gotta try to work to get you up out of there, man. If that's the only other charge you got is the 15-year-old charge and this charge, and they gave you what? What's your sentence exactly?
I'm serving a natural life sentence. That's my whole sentence, life imprisonment.
It's not. It's not the 40 years life. Is the
in Maryland, it's not no indeterminate sentence. It's straight numbers of letters. Like our sentence is not like how like New York and other states is. It's straight life is life. Like when they say life, you eligible for parole 15 years without good days. Some life sentences is 20, some are 25, depending on what type of sentence you got running concurrent with it and things like that. But my situation been as though it was just straight life. I went up for parole with 11 years in. You feel what I'm saying? So they told me to come back in 2032. I would have had 20 years in. And that's just the talk. Like a rehearing is just for them to call you back in there and talk. Like it's not saying, oh, we gonna give you parole or nothing like that. Like you got brothers in here, bro, that's serving life sentences that like for robberies. You got people serving life sentences that wasn't even the person that pulled the trigger, and the person that pulled the trigger is free. Like it's all type of crazy stuff going on with this Maryland justice system, bro. Like it's wicked, man.
And you had like a court-appointed lawyer?
No, I had a paid attorney, bro. I had a paid attorney that was supposed to have been like a well-respected lawyer out there, but he was a little older. You know how when attorneys get a little older and they phasing out or whatever, like I use him. You know what I'm saying? Like I hired him with intentions on trying to get a plea deal. That was the whole purpose of me hiring him. I'm like, look, I'm gonna hire you. Look, I just came home. This is what I was doing. Like, I wasn't in the streets enough when I came home. Like, I was working, bro. I had a full-time job. I was going to community college, all that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I really was trying to get myself together. Like, the little reentry program I went to, I pretty much got, like, a head start by going through the little reentry program or whatever. But, like, I wasn't out that joint moving around like I ain't belong out there or nothing like that. This really happened, like, on some wrong place, wrong time, wrong people type stuff for real.
Yeah, that shit is yo, bro. You know this is not the first time I mentioned it, but I'm gonna mention it to you too because every time I hear stuff like that, I think about this book. It's this book that I read not too long ago called. What the hell is this shit called? Hold on 1 second. It's called fuck, man. I can't remember the name of the book. It'll come back to me. But in this book, son had a life sentence from 16. If I'm not mistaken, it's in Maryland too, or DC.
Yeah. I was locked up with bro. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what book I'm talking? You know what joint I'm talking about?
Yeah, you talking about Chris Wilson, the master plan?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I believe it or not, bro. I'm on the same. I was at that jail when I was younger. Like all this was locked up together, or whatever. Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
Son, but that book was mad inspirational because he had lights out.
Yeah, right.
And he just bust his pen so crazy. He bust his pen game so crazy that somebody got that shit overturned for him. You feel me?
Yeah,
and the same thing could happen with you, bro. Because it ain't no way in the world you should have a life sentence for a crime where nobody got killed, and then your only other criminal history is technically juvenile history. You understand what I'm saying? That shit is insane, bro.
Yeah,
and they only doing
bro.
shit like that, the motherfucking niggas from the hood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I was you, I would really, really get on a rampage with my pen game, bro. And you know, stories like this being out there don't hurt.
Right.
It don't hurt. You feel what I'm saying? But nah, bro, I ain't accepting that shit. I'm not accepting that shit because that shit is insane. If nobody got killed in my crime, and my only other crime, I was 14 when it happened, I'm not sitting for that shit, bro. I don't care if I gotta write the governor, the president.
Man, I've been writing all type of people, bro. I done wrote congressman, I done wrote lobbyists, I done wrote what's some people, councilmen and stuff like that. It's like you know, you limited by like what you can do for us, like with how technology advancing and stuff like that now, you feel what I'm saying? So I definitely be writing and be trying to just get my whole situation out there so somebody can really see, like, look, and then it's not even like I'm a bad person, not like that, like bro, I'm really like intelligent, you feel what I'm saying? So I think I'm more valuable out there than in here than anything, you feel what I'm saying? Especially with all the stuff going on dealing with like the criminal justice reform. Like, who more better to tell you like what needs to take place in these prisons than somebody that spent majority of his life there, you feel what I'm saying? So I think that this whole situation should definitely be looked into.
Hell yeah, my bro. We gonna definitely. You gotta tell people your full government name and what facility you being housed in, just in case somebody serious is listening to this.
Right. Yeah, my name Norman Francis. My ID number 415-214. Right now, I'm currently at the Bethesda Institution. Yeah. And I'm here. I'm housed here because I'm enrolled in college in the Georgetown Bachelor's Liberal Arts program I was accepted in a few months ago. So I'm actually here to learn. I'm here to educate myself and equip myself with tools that I can use so that I can get back out there in the world and bring light to a lot of the situations that we're currently going through, dealing with over sentencing, unjust sentences that's being rendered, parole reform, anything like that that's keeping a lot of us trapped inside these prisons when we should be given opportunities of being released.
Yeah, bro, we gotta make some noise about that, man, because you know, to me that shit is just racism. You feel what I'm saying? It's just racism, man. You fall in front of a judge that don't give a fuck about a young black man. You feel me? Like fuck me, a criminal.
They just had a criminal forum at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum, and the whole forum was based off of Maryland had only 13% of black people populate the state, but 71% of the prisoners is black. You know, 80% of the prisoners serving life sentences is black. Majority of the people that get denied parole is black. So it's like you know what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? But what are y'all willing to do to change these things? You know, like right now there's a crisis dealing with juvenile crime. Like they attempting to pass a lot of bills to start charging more juveniles as adults. Like, I'm not trying to be in prison, bro, babysitting no juvenile carjackers and car thieves, because that's what this place is great turn into, bro. They great fill these prisons up with a bunch of children, like, and it's the same cycle that's just being repeated over and over and over again. You know, it's not a lot of programs here that's really preparing you to be released from in prison. Like, coming to prison at a young age, bro, you go through some traumatizing stuff. Like, you don't get the proper mental health resources. You know, I done seen people who I done came through here dying here, bro. Like, I done seen dudes kill themselves, OD. Like, it's a war zone in here. Like, it's real, bro. Like, and like you said, bro, they really don't care. Like,
yeah, man, that shit definitely need to be combated, though. You understand? Because, you know, I know a couple of people right now, few people that they gave them life sentences when they was 16, 17, 19, 20 years old. And it's like, bro, from what you describing with that crime, like, you know, somebody got stabbed, nobody got killed, nobody almost got killed. You feel me? Like, you should not be able to be judged. I don't care what the law is in that state. We talking about humanity. You feel what I'm saying? There's no way in the world you should be judged by some shit that happened when you was 14 years old to decide whether or not you're gonna receive life in prison. That's insane, bro. That's insane. And I'm sure that somewhere in them books, it is illegal for them to do that, regardless of what the law is. I guarantee you it's illegal for them people to use your juvenile history, whether or not you was charged as an adult or juvenile. It gotta still be a loophole in that law where they can't use your criminal history from no 14-year-old charge, bro.
Yeah.
It's probably, you probably by law can get those charges off of your record.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and if
I was trying to look into that.
Yeah, and if you get those charges off of your record, they are going to have to relook at that sentence, because now you don't have those charges. So how are you doing life for a bar fight? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to get those charges removed off of your record, bro. Some way, somehow. You feel me? No matter that, it got to be a federal law or something like that that supersedes that Maryland law.
Right, exactly. That's what I was dealing with. Like, I filed a habeas corpus on one of the allegations I had at trial. Like, they never told the jury I had a right not to testify, right? So as I got found guilty, one of the jury members pulled the lawyer up, like, look, you the only one that ain't get on the stand and say he ain't do it. So he like, nah, y'all violated the court instructions. I asked for the jury to be instructed that you can't consider his silence as a form of guilt. So when I got the court transcripts or whatever, the judge never even read the jury instruction. You know, she never gave the joint or whatever. So that was one of the allegations that I appealed. They said it was a post-conviction issue that should be remedied in the court that I was found guilty in. So when I went on the ineffective assistance of counsel through the post-conviction, they pretty much swerved on me like, no, we don't even think your lawyer asked for this jury instruction. We think he withdrew in the chamber. So I'm like, look at the jury instructions. It's on this request. That's the first instruction on this paper. You feel me? So like they just bypassed all that. Like, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. As far as with the habeas corpus, that's the one that's in Fourth Circuit. Like this, pretty much like the last appeal for that. But like I said, it's other avenues I can pursue for us trying to reopen the post conviction and things like that. But you know, lawyering, stuff like that, a lot of that stuff come in effect because like I said, when I got sentenced, that's probably one of the toughest jurisdictions in this state.
Yeah, bro, you always got to keep in mind this too. Know what I mean? It's a spiritual war too. It's deeper than flesh and bone, brick and steel.
Right.
That shit is just brick and steel. You understand what I'm saying? The energy and mind power. That shit is the real power. So you gotta tap into that level of energy where you like, I don't give a fuck what is said on a piece of paper. These niggas ain't taking my whole life from me for this bullshit. And you gotta fight tooth and nail, and you gotta don't accept nothing else but the fact that you gonna get up out of there.
Right.
Some way, somehow, you gonna get up out of there, bro. And you know you gotta say that Psalms 35 and that Psalm 71. And I'm a 5%er, bro. And I'm telling you, these Psalms work. You understand? Cause I done got out of jail on several occasions using these Psalms and just tuning myself out from everything, bro. No beating off. Know what I mean? No beating off. No none of that. You understand? I need all that spiritual power. You feel me? And I just start getting on some affirmation shit. You gotta do. I done did this shit. I done been locked up. I ain't been since I came home. I ain't been facing no life and shit. But I ain't want to go back to jail at all. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So I done been in situations where I had to get in them Psalms real crazy. And at the same time, I had to do affirmations. Nigga gotta buy himself a whole notebook just for affirmations, and you gotta write that shit in that book a zillion times. I am going home.
Yeah, you understand? You definitely gotta envision yourself getting up out here, bro. I got a notebook full of a lot of stuff on that joint, man. What they call it, like a vision board.
Yeah, you gotta program. You gotta program yourself, bro. The mind controls the body. The mind controls the world. You feel what I'm saying? So you gotta program your mind into believing that you are going home. And when you program your mind with that shit, it will begin to create your reality even from behind those bars. That mind power will start working and unlocking shit in the real world that will get you home, bro. You just gotta accept the fact that you're not gonna be in there for the rest of your life. You gotta say, fuck that. I don't give a fuck what a judge said, what a lawyer said, what a book said. Nigga, my pen game, and you gotta just bust that pen and keep busting it. And we gotta put out shit like this, and people will hear it, man. You'll be surprised. This channel is big. So it's people out there that's powerful, man, that they hear shit like this. I have gotten some people out of some situations with this channel. You feel what I'm saying? So you just gotta keep that faith, bro. Yeah, because you know that's nobody. You know, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear a motherfucker sitting in the penitentiary with life for some bullshit like that. That shit is terrible, man. That could happen to me and somebody else.
Right. Hey, bro, I definitely appreciate it. But the phone's about to cut off.
All right,
bro.
No,
I definitely keep you posted, man, in my situation. I definitely appreciate the opportunity, man.
All right, bro, when I get this out on something
real beautiful, man, with your time and energy out there bringing awareness to this type of stuff, man. I definitely appreciate that.
All right, when I get this out on something, I'm going to link you.
All right, bet.
All right, bro.
All right, bro.
Appreciate
all right, thanks.
All right. All right, peace.
Times is hard, so I'm moving dimes and hard. In the project courtyard, at the store on the boulevard. Times is hard, so I'm moving dimes and hard.
Ayo, LAZ, make sure you check that new single from the bro Chief Cherokee featuring me, LAZ. You heard Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man. That's on all streaming platforms, and that's called Times is Hard.
Hey yo, LAZ, I'm in Queensbridge to be exact. Shout out to the whole Queensbridge project. I just left my dudes at the How It Happened podcast. Just did an exclusive interview with them dudes. Make sure you go over there and check that interview. Make sure you subscribe, leave some comments, and tell them Z-Man Suicide Polo with the Ski Man sent you. You heard? Z-Lord, get at me.
Hey yo, LAZ, after this episode, make sure you go check my bros over there at InSource TV and watch that Super Trife Low Life's interview part 2 with Face Low, you heard? Hey yo, if you need promo, my reels on Instagram is monstrous, you heard? Send me a DM at Real Saint Laz and I'll get back at you. Yerp.